second part to see what this is and what that's all about. We've already recorded that bit to be tagged on the end of this. Welcome, my friends, to the show that never ends, and Wycombe won yesterday. In fact, Wycombe 2 and Carlisle. I have to applaud their fans for coming all the way 380 miles, is it? Something like that. All the way down from the edge of Scotland to Wycombe. Oh, what joy that must have been. I don't know how long it took. It must take about 6.5 hours trip down, only to watch their football team do what they did.
In all fairness, though, they have to do this every other week, don't they?
They do.
So
I mean, well, at least some of them are further up north. I mean, mind you, there's a lot of teams down here. I suppose you just get used to it. And let's be frank, what else is there to do in Carlisle? Yeah.
Oh, because you've been to Carlisle so many times.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, all that countryside. What do you do out there? You know. Yeah. So well done. There were about 400 of them.
Fair enough.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Well done, you, for supporting your football team. Well, very strange game. So much of that game was to do with their goalkeeper, and so much of their manager's chat afterwards was to do with their goalkeeper, and so much of their fans' comments were to do with their goalkeepers in the plural sense. Okay, tell me, how did Vokes get a free kick and their goalkeeper sent off?
It's one of those
when
we're assuming that everyone who watches this has already seen it.
Watch it and then.
But, well, under the assumption, but it's you see it on like those funny football videos where it's like, oh, hilarious moment when the keeper doesn't look behind him and see that there's a striker just waiting for him. Surely someone shouts. Like, either your fans, like, surely there's a fan there.
Well, it was at their end.
Yeah,
that's what I couldn't understand. It was all their fans were behind him.
Yeah,
you'd think.
And surely when Vokes is running up, because Vokes doesn't exactly stand like a metre behind him. He stands a good 10 metres, and he's not the fastest bloke in the world. So surely in that meantime, there's something that ticks through his brain that says, "Oh, I need to hurry up here." But no. And
the funny thing is, the manager keeps swapping the goalkeepers for mistakes. The other goalkeeper was changed because of about 4 bad errors. They reckon he's lost them a number of games as well. I would suggest, rather than sort of split your money and buy 2 very poor goalkeepers, you'd be better off just getting one decent one, would be my suggestion. Some of their fans are sort of made comments about you can't make your mind up which one. Neither of them have got enough sort of, support, or are worried they're not going to last more than a minute, and then you pull them out and put them back in. You can't do that. All their fans are saying, for God's sake, pick one and stick with them. Because he can't do that now, can he? He doesn't have a choice. Because I did notice that the guy that came on to replace their goalkeeper after he got sent off was their number 1 goalkeeper. And how big was he?
You tell me, I wasn't there.
6'8". Something like that.
I think I might know who it is.
A massive bloke. I mean, he wouldn't have to put his arm up to touch the... You have a look at that. Anyway, so that was the first incident. Wycombe were all over Carlisle, at least in their half of the pitch, but nowhere near the 18-yard box. And the game, it was irritating. It was annoying. Wycombe just kept going, but never got there. Until Vokes did this sort of standing on the goal line with the goalkeeper with the ball in front of him, who rolls the ball out and he runs past him and the goalkeeper trips him up. It wasn't a penalty because it's outside the box, but what it did mean was the goalkeeper got a red card.
Because the second goalkeeper is the tallest goalkeeper in the world.
Right, so that's who we got. That's who came on there, the tallest goalkeeper in the world. Yeah, because of course from there, and the dark thing was he came on, and the first thing they did with this free kick in a dangerous place was belt it over the bar. I'm thinking, why do you put it on the ground? This guy is going to take about a year and a half to get down to the ground, whereas he's already standing there just to put his hands up to stop the ball going in the corner. Very strange, stupid idea. But Wycombe it was all Wycombe and Carlisle. Their fans must be, I mean, very, very poor. They really were poor. But again, Wycombe couldn't score a goal. They just couldn't get there. And in the end, what it took was McCleary running at them. He got to the left-hand side. He got into the box, and as he was crossing the box, they made a pretty bad error and tripped him up. 2 points on this. First is I saw one of their fans' clips about the goalkeeper. Did he handle the ball or not? When it ran underneath him. In the end, I don't think that matters, because whatever he did was he stopped Vokes by foul or handball scoring a goal. And either way, that's a sending off offence.
Well, I mean,
doesn't matter whether he handled it or not outside the box.
I suppose it does. He does get the ball, but are you allowed to tackle with your chest/stomach? I don't know. Probably not. But I mean, he doesn't exactly complain, does he?
He didn't complain. That did tell you something, didn't it? And as for the penalty, yeah, it was. It was. I don't think there was any doubt about that, really. Again, I think that's a fan's thing, it was clearly not a penalty, says one of their fans, and you think, strange comment, really, because if you trip somebody up and they fall over, it's a penalty. Penalty was well taken. Leahy is now our penalty taker. What has happened to Mr. Left Back captain of Wycombe,
who's been here 10 years? And you've remembered the name.
Yeah,
well done.
I mean, is he never playing again? Did we employ him as a footballer or a coach?
Well, quite honestly, the bloke who's replacing him, Boys, looks all right.
He does.
And arguably has been one of our better players this season, so can't really complain if Jacobson just plays kind of like the cup matches and all that sort of thing.
But is he? I mean, is that what? I mean, is he ever going to play again? I don't know. But anyway, so there was that. So Leahy took the penalty, brilliant penalty, no problem, scoring a goal. The rest of it, again, was huff and puff, huff and puff, huff and puff. Good football in the midfield. Yes, he's got the midfield. It said he packs the midfield with 5 players. They're good 5 footballers. Huff and puff, huff and puff, and nothing happens. We never get into that 18-yard box unless McCleary does a run. Apart from that, nothing happened. They got down to 10 players and nothing still happened until. And then we did get a goal eventually just due to pure pressure. And that's all it was. It wasn't. I worry, okay, that's the honest truth. That might have looked like a sort of clear grey, didn't we do well? But I would be worried if they hadn't had that player sent off. They were rubbish. They were never going to score a goal. It was all Wycombe. But were we going to score a goal with 11 players on the pitch? That's probably why we're picking up, was it 1.1 goals per game on average? I'm, yeah. I can sound negative over winning 2-0, but
you've been worried the whole entire season, and we've still won 4 out of 8, is it?
Yeah. So well, I'll take it, I suppose, and and hope he gets that. I mean, the problem last week was the defence. They didn't need a defence this week. Just didn't need one. That's but we could really do with somebody score goals, that's for sure. And doesn't everybody? Doesn't everybody?
Is it that we need someone to score goals, or is it we need someone to create them?
Well, yeah, because I didn't see anything in the 18-yard box other than McCleary running into the byline. And that was about the only option. And it's no good putting the ball in the air to Hanlon because he can't head it. You can't put the ball at his feet to hit it as a shot because he fumbles the ball. He takes one touch to put it somewhere near him. He takes the next touch to try and put it under some sort of control, and then takes a third touch to work out what he's going to do next. He cannot play one touch or even two touch football, and he cannot head the ball. Whereas Vokes does have the skill. His second goal yesterday was class. It was class, but he's carrying a lot of weight and an age on that. And that is probably his fault. I don't mean his fault. I mean a fault. That, again, if he was a lot younger, because he does have the class. When he gets the ball, he can use the ball really well.
I mean,
his passing, his knowing where players were around him, top. He was far better than most players on the football pitch. It's just he can't get there.
So apparently he's basically my height. So about 6 foot, and he's also 90 kilos, which is about my weight. And it's not easy to move. But in saying that, he should be training this day in, day out, so I don't see why he should really not have a problem running around that much, but he does.
He does. But it was a great goal. He scored a really good goal. Not many people would score that goal. Nothing looked on. And he swiveled that round and knew where the goal was. He is a goal scorer. He is. It's just he's too old. He's a goal scorer in League One. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think that probably sums it up. The other thing I was going to say was the lack of games we're going to manage to get to, because home internationals reappear. The next game, that was Carlisle, then we're away at Portsmouth on Tuesday, away at Fleetwood on Saturday, and then the next home match on October the 14th.
24th. Oh, 7th, 14th, yeah, you're right.
October the 14th is Cheltenham, and it's home international. So that's not on. Following game away at Peterborough. Then on a Tuesday, October the 24th, is Bolton. So we've got a game on October the 24th. And then the next home match is Stevenage on November the 11th. And now, normally I work on a Tuesday, so I wouldn't usually be able to make it to the next game till November the 11th. And I'd end up missing the Bolton match and the Cheltenham match because they'd put that on a Tuesday night. And I'm just wondering whether my season ticket's worth the effort. You miss them in August, okay, and they play 5 matches in August, of which 3 of them will be home matches, and you're on holiday, okay. Then they start sticking all the Tuesday night ones in, And then you have the ones around the Christmas time where often people go away. And then you have all, and it just gets daft. And I'm wondering seriously whether to get rid of my season ticket. And then just pay when I go, because I pay, is it £26 something a month, and I don't think it's worth it. I mean, I'm going to go to one game in the next 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know how many I've missed already. 4. It's not worth it, and they're going to jump up and down. If people don't go, they'll say, "Oh, people should come. Why don't they come?" Well, maybe they want to prioritise things really. And for a League One team, why home internationals? Daft in League One. I don't care what players you got playing for you and where you're going. We haven't got any superstars. It's just a bit daft. If they're playing for sort of, Zebraland, or
it's not very nice.
Puddy Cat United, or
come on, let's be nicer than that.
Well, then name our internationals and what country they play for.
It doesn't matter which country they play for.
But we should be.
Just because they're not playing for England.
But we shouldn't shut. We shouldn't. And I don't think any team should not play because of internationals. I think it'd be quite entertaining, actually.
I do agree. I do agree with you in terms of League One.
Yeah.
And to an extent, it's funny because when you have the African Cup of Nations, the Premier League still continues, and we always lost Salah and Mane at the same time. That was always fun.
So when you have an international friendly and Wycombe don't play, that's a bit daft, isn't it?
Yes. But also, you wouldn't be saying that if we then lost those games because we had, I don't know, McCleary went to play for someone and Striek went to play for someone and all those type of players. If it was our best players, you might have a different viewpoint on it. But because it's not our best players and because they're not playing for the bigger countries, we're a bit like, oh, it seems a bit silly.
Okay.
Well, just say they play for whatever land you said. I don't think that's very nice.
I'm not being, no, I'm just saying, rather than naming a country, I'm just trying to think,
But to your point in terms of like people being able to go to the games,
I mean, surely that should be the priority, people being able to go to the games. The fact they have 5 games in August when people are on holiday for a start.
Well, we know what football's like. We know what.
Well, maybe they need to change it because tell me, Kieran, especially, do they gain out of this? Do you think?
What?
Starting the season way back in the beginning of August and playing every game every time they get an opportunity and sticking them on nights during the week that kids can't go. I mean, they try and demand to get kids there.
So then your other option is that the season goes on into June.
The other option
but would still have to start in August.
I would say the other option is you have 6 leagues and make them smaller.
That is another option, but would take a while to get up there.
But I think that would be your answer. There's 20 teams in the Premier League. We have 24. You can knock 6 games on the head by just having 20 teams in there for a start.
8, but still.
No, because you don't play yourself.
Yeah, but neither is the team in the Premier League.
True. Yeah, good point. Yeah. No, but we'd save 6 games of ours.
You'd still save 8.
Oh, all right. 8, yeah. All right, yeah. Well, there you go. That makes it easy, doesn't it? 4 teams less.
Yeah.
And you sort all that out. You play on Saturdays, 3 o'clock, most of those games where kids can go, and me. And you don't play in August. I mean, there's this whole thing of kit players going on strike for time off, is it?
I don't think that would still help you though, because you've still, I mean, the number of Tuesday games in there already, and that's not even counting cup games and all that sort of thing.
But it's got to help. You've got to, I reckon that August has got to go, because that's the one that really gets my goat. It's August, beginning of August. We started this Saturday, the 5th of August. Absolutely
because the season has to coincide with what the Premier League does, and if they go on into late May, early June, then you've got World Cups and Euros that you've got to worry about, and other internationals. You're right in the sense that there's too many games, and then you can't fit them all in. And I think you're right in the sense that you should have smaller leagues. But I do think you probably still do have to have games in August, because I mean them in themselves.
Because you are cutting all the kids out when you have Tuesday matches.
Tuesday matches, yes. I think August ones are fine because I reckon the attendance you have in August actually is probably greater than any other time of the year.
Right.
Because it's sunny and people go out.
Okay.
But in saying that, it doesn't mean that people still don't go on holiday.
Okay. And tell me those interesting details about how many people watch Wycombe Wanderers.
Well, none, essentially.
None watch Wycombe Wanderers.
So it's basically just a percentage of the stadium filled in League One. And bearing in mind that we probably have the smallest stadium, maybe bar one. We probably do. We are second bottom. We fill 46.6% of the stadium on average. And there's only two other teams who don't fill 50% of their stadium. That's Wigan, because they've got a massive one. And it is actually Carlisle. Probably because they have no away fans, but if they had away fans, then
that's true. Actually,
they'd probably fill it up. The ones that are filled well are Leyton Orient, Northampton, Portsmouth, Bristol Rovers, Cambridge, and Exeter. They're all above 80%.
Well, Bristol Rovers have got a whole stand missing. Well, so I mean, if you knocked one of our stands down, it'll straight away up the percentage of fans in it.
It is silly. I mean, they must do their research, Wycombe Wanderers, as to why we don't get that many people. Because obviously they have to do their research into how they can get more people to come. And the only way they do that is by handing out free tickets. So and it's weird because we are the only team in and around this area, really, apart from Reading, maybe. But they're crap as well. So it's a bit strange as to why we don't have.
Yeah.
And I suppose we're near London, and so everyone supports London teams as opposed to support Wycombe. There's a thing that people here just don't support Wycombe.
Well, I think I mean, some of it is to do with money as well, because you've automatically, if you support Wycombe, you've automatically got to up the price for a car, for instance. Parking, £10 in that.
True.
In that car park every week you go. I mean, that's balmy. That should be a part of your ticket. I mean, it should certainly be a part of a season ticket. Not that we need it, but the other thing is the Arriva buses are stopping.
Oh, they're on talks, aren't they?
Yeah, that's so they're having a little bit. Why I can't imagine, because surely I use buses all the time, and flip me, they don't fill them very often. Okay, next topic. I'm going to touch on the Premier League because there was a topic I actually wanted to talk about, and it came up yesterday. I've got it, but on here.
Was it VAR?
No, well, no. I was going to discuss. Second yellow cards was what I was going to discuss. Anyway, And the reason for that was there was a game the other day where a guy got a second yellow card for virtually not doing anything. I mean, both were timid little yellow cards, but it meant he got sent off. And the referee doesn't use VAR for yellow cards. He does for red cards. But surely, now I know VAR didn't exactly work in the Liverpool match, but surely, why is a second yellow card not as important as a red card? Surely you should assess both cards to make sure they deserve getting sent off.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing wrong, is there? Could you change this system and get one yellow card, two yellow cards, and on the second yellow card, ref checks to see whether it should turn into a red card or just stick with two yellow cards and you carry on playing?
Well, I mean, surely the VAR in between the first and the second yellow card can go. They can have a look at the first one and work out if that was a yellow card.
You know what we're talking about, everybody. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So they can work out. I mean, to be fair, they didn't have long. Jota didn't really decide to, stick to his morals or anything.
No.
Having just been booked.
Was stupid.
Well,
but the first tackle was never a yellow card.
VAR
in the first
supposedly
place.
can work out in the meantime that the first one wasn't. So when he then goes and gets the second yellow card, the ref can go, "Oh, I'm giving you a yellow card. I'm not giving you a yellow card because your first one wasn't, but this one is. So you're just on a yellow card now."
Yeah. Because what I wanted to actually bring up about this wasn't just that, but it's the quantity of yellow cards being handed out. So after 7 matches in the Premier League, Tottenham, Wolves, a lot of these teams have already picked up over 25% of yellow cards that they would have picked up at the end of 38 matches last season. Because so many more are being handed out. And because they're handing out so many more, there's been a few more 2 yellow cards and a sending off. And the reason for this is they're handing them out for time wasting. Okay, so they're actually, instead of handing out a certain amount of yellow cards, it's gone up by something like about a third more. So in theory, that's why every team is picking up more and more and more yellow cards. And this is going to have a big effect as we go through the season with players missing matches, but also 2 yellow cards for something that is...
I mean, cards in general seem to be more the thing, because under Klopp, Liverpool have never had more than 2 red cards in the season. We've already had 4, and you could argue against all of them, even though Jones' one probably was, even though he was unlucky with it. But they just they do hand them out now. Like, was the Liverpool game yesterday? Liverpool had like 6 yellow cards and Spurs had like 4. And then there was another. I think United had like 6, and me and my brother laughed as soon as the United Palace game came on, and United gave the ball away, and Casemiro just goes flying in. It's like, oh, he's been booked already, because that's just what Casemiro does. But it's just so easy to get booked, and it doesn't help because you'd rather not do it because it does hinder the game, booking and sending players off.
Well, they ruin the game. It ruins the game. It gives you the score. I mean, as soon as
the fact it would have been insane had Liverpool actually got a point yesterday.
It would have been insane, yeah.
But you don't have 9 men and just keep it like that. But I mean, it was our own fault that Joel decides to whack it into his own net. But each their own.
But is there another option? I mean, is there an option? What can you do? The time wasting thing I mean, I get it, but do you have to book players for time wasting?
Well, I mean,
Can't you just?
I can imagine we can bring up old clips of you being like, "Oh, you should book him straight away," kind of thing.
Yeah,
But it does seem like I think everyone's kind of got the point now, and so if it happens once, it's not really that bad a time wasting. Then just keep going. And it's when they're booking players for time wasting in the first half, and when it's 0-0, when it's a bit ridiculous. It's like they're obviously not time wasting. They're just deciding on what they need to do. They do it within like the first 5 minutes. Like he's not time wasting.
Well, it's like taking a throw in. How many players get done time wasting taking a throw in when they're just actually looking for a player to throw the ball to?
Time wasting in the second half from like the 60th minute is when it is like that's when it's annoying and bad and all that sort of thing. And so yes, maybe from then. In the first half, players aren't time wasters. That's not what they're doing.
I think it's quite funny that one player gets booked for time wasting, and then the other team who are losing take longer to take the throw in, and then don't get booked. And on getting booked, there are some clear in the women's World Cup final. Who was it? Was it an England player that committed a Spanish? It was a Spanish girl who committed an absolute arm and a leg, got a yellow card, then went and did exactly the same thing again. And the ref went for the pocket, but didn't book her because they realised they'd be sending somebody off. So kept their hands, put their hands back.
Mm.
And was she the goal scorer?
She might have been, yeah.
And sort of the ref deciding the outcome of the game. So I don't know what the answer is because I like the idea of sin bins. I'd be fascinated to know whether they might work.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Where you don't have time to you do it, you hold up SB off, and you get off the pitch for 5 minutes. And I know the one thing that bothers me a little is will teams clamp down and it destroys the game for 5 minutes? I think possibly not, because when a player is down to 10 players, they make substitutions to be able to do that. Whereas you wouldn't here because there'd be in a sin bin for 5 minutes. And you wouldn't start making substitutions. And so you'd leave all your forwards on the pitch and that sort of thing. So I think it just opened the game up a little bit for 5 minutes and put you at a disadvantage. And isn't that what it's for, after all, the yellow card? To put you as a penalty for something you've done wrong?
I think the only reason it's not implemented is because obviously the obvious example is rugby, where it is that you'll get one yellow card a game in rugby, or one or two, whereas in football it does tend to go from can be anywhere between 2 and 10.
Yeah.
And so if you have 10 players in the sin bin, obviously not at the same time, but it can get a little bit hectic. Working all that out, I can imagine. But I do think it would be probably the next best move you could do.
I think it'd be interesting.
The yellow cards for fouls and all that sort of thing, yes, fine. But the yellow cards for small little bits of time waste and all. It was the one where it was Trent kicking the ball away, and he barely kicked the ball away. We've kicked the ball away for our whole lives. It's only annoying when you kick the ball away from the 60th minute onwards and you're losing. And it's a bit more obvious that's what they're trying to do is time waste. He wasn't trying to time waste there, was he? It was just what the footballers have always done, and we've just accepted it, and it doesn't make a difference really.
And I think the ref should have gone to the sin bin yesterday in that Liverpool match as well.
Have you seen what they've said about the Diaz goal?
No.
Apparently the VAR official thought that the goal had been given, and so had a look at the offsides, thought, oh, it's onside, that's fine, and so clicked the button to continue. Whereas actually gave offside in the game. I don't know how he thought this, because he must have looked at the replay very quickly, because Diaz stops and is like, "Oh,
no!" But you've got the linesman, you've got the referee, you've got the VAR referee, and you've got the VAR deputy.
Yeah,
and they all let that happen.
Yeah. The ridiculous thing is that they were talking on. I suppose there was.
What was the deputy doing?
Well, you do want to. Surely, even if they've come to realise that after Spurs have taken their free kick,
just stop the game.
Surely the ref goes, "Oh, hang on, actually, oh no, it is a goal." It's not great. No, it doesn't look brilliant. But Blokey's made a mistake, and it's like, oh, we've actually got to the right answer now, rather than keeping going the game and just trying to brush it under the carpet.
Yeah. There was.
If you miss out on 3 seconds of game because you've taken the free kick, and then Blokey's been like, oh, hang on, we've got to go back.
And of course, it's all well and fine today, and everybody thinks, oh, well, Spurs didn't really deserve it. In a week's time, everybody will talk, well, Spurs, of course, beat Liverpool, blah blah. Oh, did they? And they get the points.
Yeah.
And then, how much, if you look at how much each team spends in a year and divide that by the points that they pick up, okay, how much are those points worth? How much maybe the ref should pay for those 3 points? That'd be interesting. How much do you think he'd owe Liverpool for those 3 points?
I think Jurgen's wife must have texted him or something, because he was very calm.
He was, wasn't he? And I was waiting for his red card. I thought he'd get a red card.
Well, normally he gets ultra violent when it's not that bad a mistake, but this was the worst thing we've ever seen, and he was actually like, "Oh, I've seen it all before. We just go again."
The daft thing was that it wasn't just that, but they got Jota's wrong as well. The second tackle was a yellow card. The first was never a yellow card, if even a free kick. I don't think it was a free kick, but there you go. Football, don't we love it? Any you want to discuss other than suggesting, well, at least Manchester City lost?
At least Man City lost. At least Man United lost. Everton lost. Luton, big up, got their first win, but they were both set piece goals. Shocker.
Were they?
Yeah,
right. Okay.
That's how they're going to get their points. It's very tight at the top. You've got was it City on 18, I think, and Aston Villa in 6th on 15. So it's all rather tight up there at the moment. You assume that Villa and Brighton will kind of drop. Brighton obviously.
Brighton are on their way out. I think they've lost their luck now. I think their luck has gone.
Well, it was when West Ham got to the Europa League one season, and then they had an awful league season, and that could be what happens to Brighton as well potentially.
Yeah, they've been lucky in that they bought players and predicted they'd be good. Yeah, and they have been. But you can only predict so many right and get your money. And then after that, it does start to wear out a bit. At the bottom, though, Sheffield United 1 point, Burnley 1 point, Bournemouth 3, Luton 4, Everton 4.
Chelsea 5.
Chelsea 5. Any Chelsea fans out there? We'll be discussing you at the end of the season. Certainly not fighting for Europe. I wouldn't have said it. More like fighting for championship. Who's going down, Kieran? What's sad is the 3 that came up go down. Do they?
I think they probably do.
What?
I think Bournemouth have played quite a few decent teams already, and so they'll have a decent run. Luton have got their 1 win against Everton away, which is
important because that is who they've played.
Burnley, Sheffield United I expect to go down. Burnley, I'm surprised about, because not that I ever watched them last season, but you heard so much about they only lost like 2 games. Didn't they get record points? It's Everton versus Bournemouth next week. There you go.
That'd be
Burnley
fun.
got like record points
And then
last season
at the end of October, Everton Burnley.
And Company was supposed to be the next coming of Pep. And
hasn't quite worked out.
They're a bit crap.
Yeah.
Wolves, I mean, were tips to go down, and they've actually looked all right.
Yeah.
Chelsea play Fulham tomorrow night. I mean, if they lose that, their run of games is really funny because they have, after Fulham and Burnley, they have Arsenal, Spurs, Man City, Newcastle, Brighton, and United. So their next 6. After that, they will probably lose all of them.
Interesting.
Unless they win all of them and actually they're all right.
Maybe they sort themselves out.
It's a doubt.
Yeah. Okay, then. Well, maybe Raheem Sterling will save them, their highest paid footballer. I looked up which teams, who their most paid players are. And I'm going to leave you with this little fact. And that is, for Manchester City, it was De Bruyne, who's on 400,000 a week. There was a suggestion this season, as they've now got him, or last season when they got him, Haaland. Nobody actually knows what he's earning. There was conversation that he was on 900,000 a week, which City have denied, but they haven't told you how much. But it's more than De Bruyne's 400,000, and Mo Salah, who's on 350,000, was offered what to go to foreign lands? 1.5 million a week. He turned down. I suppose, but you'd think the poor bloke wouldn't know how to live. 350,000, but I mean, goodness, poor bloke.
I mean, in all fairness, if Liverpool accepted and he did turn it down, I mean, you wouldn't turn it down, would you? Would you? I don't know.
But it's not enough, really, is it? I mean, what are you going to do?
I mean, if you were paid 1.5 million to be a youth worker in Saudi Arabia,
it's too hot to go outside.
True.
Anyway, so there we have it. We'll leave you with that, and come on, Wycombe. Who we got next week?
Portsmouth on Tuesday.
Portsmouth Tuesday. Well, I'll be doing a thingy next after the Tuesday game in half term, which is when we play Bolton on Tuesday, October the 24th. So we'll have our little chat on Wednesday the 25th, Kieran. Lovely. Okay. October, Wednesday the 25th, we'll be back. Thank you very much. Now for the beer. Okay, doing this bit first, and then when Kieran gets back, we'll do the second bit. This is called Dead Canary. Bit of a glare on the can, I'm afraid. Can't really take a good look at that. Called Dead Canary. It's from a Glamorgan brewing company. It's Indian Pale Ale, 5%. I first came across this in Wetherspoons, so I'd give it a go. 440 ml, 5%, as I say. Now, this comes from South Wales. I don't know what it's doing in High Wycombe. It comes from South Wales. It's the guy actually the guy that owns the company, very disappointed with the beer that he could pick up. So he decided he might have a go himself. He bought a small little brewing kit, as people do, and he started to make his own beer. Now it sells quite a lot of stuff. He's had to move to get bigger and bigger places. It's actually now run by his son, I believe. And just so you know, because maybe a bit more information will help when you start picking what you like, and they don't often write it on the sides, which is really annoying, although this one does, which is very helpful. The hops in it: Now, it's obviously the mix of hops that create the flavour. The mix of hops, I mean, that's why you have people that produce different beers. They all tasted the same. Right, he uses the hops Columbus, Amarillo, Centennial, Challenger, and Simcoe. Okay, so it's a well hopped beer. He's written on the side in honour of all the dead canaries used in the coal mines. Let's open it up. I do know what it's like. I've tried it. I had it in Wetherspoons in Wycombe, which is exactly where I got this can from. They usually deliver it to the table if you order it, or when you go up to the bar, they'll just give you the can. If you just ask for a glass, they give you the can, and you can then go back down if you order two, then stick one in the bag and drink one when you get home. It was only about £3 something a can. So they're not ripping you off by drinking it in Wetherspoons at all. It's usually sort of roughly the same sort of price. Now look at that. That is nice bronze. It's got a decent head on it. Now this is this is a really nice Indian pale ale. It doesn't have the fruits, doesn't have the sort of all the fruits I quite like, I have to be honest. I have a little soft spot for very sweet fruity beer. This is not that. It is one of my favourites. If you like decent real ales, hand pulled, this is going to be something that maybe is going to be yours, not the sort of American pale ale stuff, the Brewdog cans, etc. But if you like real ale, hand pulled, then maybe this is your option. For trying something different, something new, something that I think you will like. It is a really nice bitter. Yeah, there's no fruit in that at all. It's very I was going to say like concrete cardboard. It's bitter. It's bitter to the taste. There's no extra anything. That is a good can for a real ale. Most real ales that you get in cans tend to be completely naffed flavour. They can't bring it out in a can. If you want a decent bitter that real ale in a can, I would suggest try Dead Canary by the Glamorgan Brewery. You can, like I say, buy the can in Wetherspoons, put it in your bag and walk out. Or if you look online at because they only seem to sell it in South Wales, which is a bit of a nuisance. You can order it off of their own website, the Glamorgan Brewery, and they charge you for 12 of these bigger cans. They charge you £26.41. That's including the postage. So in fact, although I'm buying that for £3 something, 60 or whatever from Wetherspoons, drinking Wetherspoons, you can get a third of the price off if you buy it by the 12 from the Glamorgan Brewery. So try one at Wetherspoons, then you know what you can order. And actually, I would seriously think about doing that. A 5%, that's a nice Friday evening beer at home. Okay, now next week I'm going to look at is my second one from the Buxton Brewery. This one's called Axe Edge Indian Pale Ale. And I got that from Morrisons. Okay, I've had a Buxton Brewery before that I loved. Never had this one. Okay, this is called Axe Edge. So that's the one I'll be trying next time. And next time is going to be, because the buggers have messed up my season ticket again. And the next home match, is it the next one or the one after on? Well, it's certainly the next Saturday game, is in another home international. So I think I'll do one after the Bolton Wanderers home match, which is on Tuesday, October the 24th. So I'll probably make one of these programs on Wednesday, October the 25th. That seems ages away, doesn't it? I'm considering my season ticket. I'll talk about that earlier, so to speak, upside down. Okay then, right. Yeah, I'll say goodbye now then, and thanks for joining me. Have a taste. Go and try some of this stuff, and any of the others. Right below, tell me what you think of them, and also thumbs up, please. Give me a thumbs up, and even a comment. Say what beers you like written below. Recommend stuff we can have a go at. Yeah. Okay then. Right, thank you very much, and I'll say goodbye. Goodbye.